Okay, we already started, because I started my recording too late. We have Skylork attacking Vishy. No, we have it the other way around. We have Vishy at rank 5 attacking Skylork at rank 3. First match is a serious Hunter versus Chrome. And it looks like we have a second to talk. I am joined once again by Mr. Wick, and this time also special guest commentator right here is Mr. Jax. And it looks like Vishy wants to AB out, going for a reset. How do you guys feel about this matchup? Because the Hunter has won it more often than the Chrome so far in the
Do you have the
contest.
stats on that?
Yes.
Because
The Chrome has a really bad win rate, in general.
well, you know my opinion on it. I think the Hunter is strongly favored. It's like at the very top level of PvP. Like in order for the CC to win, I think the Hunter needs to make a mistake.
Well, we
just
saw
feel
a
like there's no
match,
other way.
or I should say I saw a match, I commentated a match earlier today where the CC, I believe your CC, just ran over a Hunter. I believe it was you against Vishy.
Yeah, and I would say Vishy just made a mistake there.
Yeah.
It's not that the CC wins.
But I do think the Hunter needs to range exploit quite long in order to win. I could be mistaken.
I think that's the case in most matchups with the Hunter's involvement. Like, you're a really
the Hunter
fast
wins a lot of matchups just by putting its buffs and walking in. Like, there aren't that many ships that can even take that. But against the CC it doesn't work that way.
I guess it all depends on how early you force the Hunter's RD out as the Chromium.
True,
If
but the Hunter
your
needs
OS,
to put it at like 70%. You shouldn't use your OS, you need to force the RD and then OS once the RD runs out.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's a bit of mind games. Like, if you're flying the Hunter and you're fighting a Chromium in close range, you can anticipate the OS at any time. It's just, you're not sure when your opponent is gonna use it. And maybe they're gonna try to force your RD out, or they're not going to. As the Hunter, you just cannot take that chance. So,
okay, but let's get into this match itself, because we've already ignored it for quite a while. What do we think of the current status? Sky has used this trap. It's not like it's gonna take too long for it to get back at Rapid.
It's a bit unfortunate because Sky hasn't got a space pool drone, so he's at a disadvantage there.
It doesn't make a huge difference in this fight specifically, I feel. It's mostly a cooldown battle.
Yeah, true. It won't make a big difference, but it's still something.
Yeah, at this point, after we've already seen one reset, it's gonna basically come down to CD management.
So Sky's gonna AB in, but I don't think he has the trap yet. Ooh, early OS doesn't get a good hit at all. It's pretty bad against the Hunter. Less than, was about 50%, I think.
Yeah.
And now Vishy can put the RD super late, yeah.
I'm not sure about that protector though.
That's what I'm saying though.
Well,
he
doesn't have
because
RD.
he hasn't got a space pool drone on, so he's doing less damage with everything.
Sky needed to prot there. His RD wasn't up yet, I don't think. Well, Sky should have the trap pretty soon, so he should be able to run once the stun is out. I don't think Vishy kills him before the stun runs out. I think Sky gets out of this, and Vishy needs to be careful because the OS isn't that much further away.
No, I think Sky just loses here. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, already ABing to prevent the OS hit, and that's a 1-0 for Vishy.
I don't even think the OS was that close. I mean, I know he used it early, but he did endure the whole duration of the stun.
Yeah, true. But where's the hype in saying that it was like a beatdown? Come on. We're here to provide entertainment to the viewers.
It wasn't a beatdown, but I think that mostly came down to the weak OS hit. Like, Vishy could hold off on using his RD for a long time.
Yeah, I don't really mind Skylork trying for it though, because against Hunter you normally get pretty good hits. The armor is quite low, so like 80% hits are not that rare against a Hunter.
Yeah, it's one of the ships against which you can basically fancy your chances with the OS crit. Like, you can just
I wouldn't put it at 100%, but like 2-3 blasters OS, good to go. You'll often get it.
Basically, yeah. I think on average you see like 65 to 70% damage from one OS on the Hunter.
Something like that, but the Hunter doesn't want to risk it normally, and each blaster takes off more than 10%, so normally Hunters will put the RD at around the third blaster, which is like they'll be at 70% HP at that point, and that's barely in time to put the RD. But yeah, it is a bit all in there because just the stun was up, and I think maybe if he waits slightly longer, he can put the RD first and then prot out the stun.
Yeah, I was thinking Sky was about to do that because Vichy did not have his speed at that time.
Probably a slight
So maybe-
miscalculation. It looks like we're going to Seoul. They're discussing it in DMs. It would appear, and Skylork is sticking with his hunter.
Eep and Vichy, where is he? Punari. Ooh, interesting match.
I say he's sticking with his hunter. Skylork wasn't the hunter the previous match. He was the Chrome. So Punari versus Hunter. Quite interesting, I think. I favor the Punari, personally.
I think it's a really hard 50-50. Like, at the very top, I think it's just gonna come down to the very tiny details.
They
Like,
could honestly go to a max time if they.
I will start a
Don't play
timer on
correctly.
this one, yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
think so. Hunter isn't very good at getting to max time. The Punari is, but the Hunter isn't. Like,
Well, we
It
don't
needs
want a
to
max
reset
time
too
fight,
much.
but it could happen.
Well,
it's not that bad. If it's an
it
interesting
depends
one.
on it depends on how this plays out. If
Yeah.
Sky is the one always putting the pressure on, then maybe it will go to 10 minutes. Because Vish is just gonna want to reset all the time.
Yeah,
But
that's
let's
kind
see.
of what I saw earlier today as well with if the Hunter just keeps poking, the actuator advantage is quite big. I feel like the Punari kind of wants a short fight. I hope Hardy isn't in buddies with either of these with that repair field.
He's not in red.
Okay,
Ooh,
good.
early stun by Vichy.
But also very early buffs by Skylork, and looks like Vichy is gonna try to straight up fight this, and I don't mind it. Sky with a
Whoa.
really early RD as well.
Really early, yeah.
That was a very nice stun by Vish. Got his what do you call it? His actuator and his buff.
I think Sky just stuns and wants to reset here.
Sky needs to get a reset. The question is,
Yeah.
can he get one?
Yeah.
Vichy can't AB now. He already used the prot, right?
No. Vichy still has his prot, and I think his scrambler
He
as
should
well.
AB in with prot, then he just wins, right? Why is
Yeah.
Sky going back in?
Yeah.
Sky doesn't want to waste the buff, so he's going for a range exploit, but
Yeah, but he's
I
just
think
dead
Vichy
here,
wins.
isn't he?
Yeah, puts the
Yeah,
prot
yeah.
right as the stun. Well, now
I
the
don't think
question
he's
is...
gonna break the prot.
No, he's
No.
not. He doesn't have buffs anymore. I think Sky just
Yeah.
loses, but...
That was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
very nice prediction prop from Vish there.
Yeah, well, I
Well-
mean, he could have put it before he even clicked his AB, to be honest there.
Exactly. I don't
mean-
even think it was a prediction. I think he just knew
Yeah.
that if he put it up, he was just gonna
Yeah.
win, no matter what.
There's nothing
That
that
is also
changes
true.
there. So that's a
I was
2-0 for
feeling-
Vichy.
Yeah, I have a feeling Sky might have misclicked his RD there.
I don't think so. I think it's because he was stunned. He might have like slightly panicked because it is difficult if you're stunned with as low of an armor as the Hunter has. You're taking like 3 or 4 blaster hits in between items if you're strong stunned, right? If he takes
Something
4 more
like that.
blasters there, if he does 1 extra blaster, he takes 4 more blaster hits from, then there is a chance he would die, like straight up before the RD loads. So maybe the correct play is to just not use any item and delay the RD that way, but that feels really unnatural to do for most people.
Well, I'm very surprised that Sky actually turned around there, knowing Vish was about to have his AB back.
Yeah, I think he miscalculated a little bit, but he didn't want to waste his buffs. He was trying to just stay at range and SB
Did they,
poke him.
Did they choose Soul again?
He
Siri.
chose Siri, yeah.
Sky just landed in his Soul Hunter.
No, it's a Siri Hunter.
It was a Siri Hunter.
Was
yeah.
it?
Or a Draconis.
was.
I only saw the
No, no,
look
it-
at the... You looked at the tech?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
the Siri one. And Vichy is coming out in a Disruptor.
Oh, that's... See, I find that an interesting match, because you'd think that it's really a Hunter favorite, but buff plus OS just kills a Hunter. Like, 9 out of 10 times, the Hunter is just dead.
Yeah, but the thing is,
The Hunter needs to stay at range, like the whole
Yeah.
fight.
Yes, this
Yeah.
matchup Sky has to play very cautiously.
If he does that, he should win, but with the stun, he can enforce his range quite a bit. Like, we tested that earlier a few days ago. If he actuates his stun right away, he'll get his stun back before, or at the same time, Vishy would get his second AB. So the first two ABs, Sky can just stun and completely nullify them. It's only the third one where he needs to actually AB himself.
You say AB. Where would you use your AB in this fight?
Whoa, Sky's moving in. Whoa!
Ooh,
Oh!
nice dodge though.
Yeah,
Okay, stun?
he predicted
Stun?
that, and now he wins. Yeah, stun,
Stun,
and it's GG.
yeah, basically over at this point.
Yeah,
He-
that's
he's
a really
gonna
late
get
RD
bursted
as well. He's
more.
just gonna die through
Yeah.
it. Sky needs to RD though.
Ooh.
A little bit careful. Ifrit,
Yeah,
Ifrit clutch.
Yeah, no, he's dead. Yeah,
No,
dead to RG.
we
I
don't.
feel like
we don't
Vish
get
should
to
have
be
saw that
excited.
coming, especially how valuable the orbital is in this matchup.
Yeah, Sky just giving some sparkles and going in with a very. It takes a lot of balls to do that though, to just walk into that, because the safe strategy is just to stay at range, like we were saying.
Yeah,
Sky's not about that life.
I mean, you don't even need to play that carefully, because you do have a stun. You're flying a quicker ship,
Yeah.
and you have a control ability.
Yeah.
There's just
Yeah, exactly.
Unless
It's more
you-
about
unless you,
if
as the
the enemy
hunter-
ABs at a very unfortunate time and you like don't react quickly enough, you press one more item of your own, then you can get
Yeah.
hit with an OS. It can definitely happen. That's more
Yeah,
what I
that
mean
was-
with being
That was
careful.
very well played on Sky's side, though.
Yeah,
Gotta give
well,
him credit for that.
he gets credit, but yeah, as Mr. Big said, like, Vishy kinda playing into Sky's hand there, and it should also be mentioned, Hunter is among the very fastest ships in the game. It is like one of the easiest ships to dodge an OS on, just because of that. So don't try this at home if you're flying an Obsidian, for example. It's still possible, it's a lot more difficult. But we
Choose
have
Black Rex.
Draconis, in which Sky only has his Chrome. So Vishy knows, if he looked at his ships, he knows what Sky is playing.
Yeah, and Vishy is out in a milestone.
Okay, interesting.
You might wanna put your timer up again for this one.
Yeah, I definitely will. I know for a
Doesn't-
fact that Sky has a lot of practice, because he did it against me, to my utter disappointment, with Marlstone versus Chrome. He's very good at it. He's a very defensive player in this matchup, which I think is what he needs to do. He just plays for resets, wait until his traps is back, and eventually he'll land the critical OS. That's what he plays for, pretty much, and I think that's the correct way
Pretty
to
much,
approach
yeah.
it.
If I remember correctly, Vish does have a Draconis Hunter.
He does, yeah. He has a hunter for every single system.
I'm surprised he took the Marl here then, but
Well, Marlstone, by some people who don't really know what they're talking about, is considered a counter to the Chrome. Ain't that right, Wick?
Okay.
shots have been fired.
We'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean,
Well,
is she reloading?
Fishy disconnected, so that's 2-2 for Skylork then.
I think he's just relogging, hopefully.
Yeah, it should be a relog. And yeah, that's very understandable. That's very understandable, because this is a match where you don't want any lag hampering you, because if you can dodge some OSs, that really gives you a very big opening on the milestone to do a lot of magic. It is very difficult with a trap, like Sky can just drop a trap and then an OS and there's no way to get out of it.
And I wanted to ask you guys, do you think that the Chrome can find an opening, a CG window in which the Marl does not have a shield and the Chrome can win?
I'm inclined to say so, yes, because basically, not if the Marl plays defensive, but a Marl that's playing defensive will just get a draw. Like, that's how I see it. If the Marl goes for a win, then he needs to pretty much constantly stay on top of the Chrome, and that means you will be on top of the Chrome at some points where you don't have a shield up.
Well,
That's
when
my
I was
experience with it.
when I was battling with Vish, I was showing him about the speed actuator bug thing.
Yeah.
Guess you can call it. If Sky also plays with that, then I'm pretty sure it will go to max time.
Oh, we're
see.
about to see. They're off already. Early
Quick
stun
dome,
dome.
quick OS, good hit. It's not an insane hit, it's a pretty good one.
I'm not sure what Vichy is trying to achieve with the stun dome though.
I
Like,
think
Sky
just
could
trying
not
to get a
use
little bit
anything.
of DPS. Fishy, yeah, starting with an RD, so... And now the normal stun comes out and Sky's probably gonna just prod it because
Yep.
his ship has a lot of armor. He's not gonna overheal that much because Chrome is a fair and balanced ship. He is chasing though into a shield, which is interesting, but he's gonna get his RD back before he can die. That's probably the
He got a
reason.
magnet?
No, he's not gonna waste his magnet on this. As I said earlier, Skylork only uses his magnet defensively unless if it's like 99.9% chance that it's gonna end the fight. So, second OS, yeah, he's just throwing OSs to whittle down the cooldowns to force Fishy to use all of his defense and try to make sure Fishy can't stay on top of him non-stop.
Yeah, this is good because Vichy's gonna use his RD now, and he's not gonna wanna use his stun as his RD is running.
Yeah,
Sky RD?
has
RD?
an RD. Yeah, calculated plays, you know, pushing it to the limit.
That was quite risky there, because if
Ooh,
Vish
stun
critical
right
hit with
on
his
the,
Ifrit there.
And now he needs to trap, but now Vishy can just be out of it. Yeah, I think Sky's in a bit of trouble.
I think his plot is up in like a second. Should be.
He
Sky's
is
enabled.
stunned at the moment.
He's able to go work around this magnet. He should be fine.
Yeah, Vishy also playing it careful, trying to just take out the magnet rather than staying on top of Sky. I think it would have been quite close if he managed to stay in blaster range of Sky.
Questionable stun dome there.
Just trying to... I think that stun dome is purely for the cooldowns. Like, honestly, every stun you can throw that doesn't get prodded is good. Not the best OS hit there. But yeah, Sky is just constantly forcing the defense, so he's just creating space for himself pretty much.
Yeah, I think he's playing really well here around his magnet. Vish needs to get it out of the way fast.
Yeah, but every time he would shoot the magnet, Sky's gonna shoot him pretty much. He could get a few shots in. He already got half of it down, but the magnet cooldown is quite low, especially in... it's Draconis, I guess. It's a rare, it's not a rapid, but still, the cooldown is pretty low in 1v1 if there's an actuator running. Like, you'll get it.
I think we're in for a reset here. Vishy acknowledges that he's basically out of defense. I mean, he does have a stun, but Sky can just...
he should have the shield backup pretty much as well. Going for an attempt, gets a decent... That's a pretty good hit, but he was at 100%. Vishy does go back in. So that's interesting. Yeah, now push the shield. Oh, he's gonna use his Ifrit.
Yes, he's gonna use his Ifrit here.
Pulling out his Ifrit. And Ifrit is very powerful on the Milestone in this matchup, because Milestone can protect his Ifrit for a very long time. Sky does just prod off the stun again.
Definitely, I would even say it's one of the strongest ships to have the Ifrit on.
I mean, I think it's better on the Chrome because an Ifrit OS is just OP, pretty much. Like, the Milestone doesn't have that much damage. It can keep its Ifrit going for very long, but it's better to have it with an OS.
Sky can get it.
Yes, he does. But
unless Vishy gets a stun dome back, Sky should win this.
I'm not sure if he stays in range. Yeah, he does. Nice. Does get a stun dome.
Yep.
Sky might decide to trap for this if he has it. Nah, I'm not gonna go for it.
I don't think he has it yet.
I think it's almost back up. Goes for an OS.
Another OS?
But doesn't stay in range. And not a very good hit either.
How did he fire an OS but Vishy couldn't fire a blaster at him? Interesting.
Vision drone, possibly?
Yeah. Sky has
might have
Sky
been drone throttling. Fishy should also have a division drone. Might have not switched it in time.
Yeah, looks like it. And now he's running away, going for a reset.
Yeah, this is the issue, like... The Chrome doesn't really kill the Marlstone unless if the Marlstone plays really aggressive. But then the same almost fully applies the other way. Like, the Marlstone has a really hard time killing the Chrome if the Chrome plays fully defensive. So it's kind of a game of chicken where the first person to be too aggressive with their items is most likely gonna lose. Because by now Sky has the trap back. 100%.
Yeah.
He has everything except his actuator back, pretty much.
Where's Vishy gone? Oh, he thinks that Sky is chasing him. I'm just gonna quickly let him know that that is not the case and that he can turn around.
Yeah.
Sky is actually collecting energy, actually.
Yeah, Skylork doesn't have membership, so if he can save himself from having to fly to Venner mid-match, like take a break from the match just to recollect energy, that's
So
more
what
convenient
happens
for
there
everyone.
if a pilot runs out of energy?
He loses.
If you run out of energy in the middle of a round, you lose, but you are allowed to gather up energy in between rounds every time. That's why we have the 10-minute time limit, because otherwise a lot of the draw matches would just be won by those with membership.
Speaking of 10 minutes, how are we with the
We
time?
are slightly over halfway, so we still have plenty of enjoyment to be had. Is enjoyment a word? Probably not.
Is she coming in?
Yeah.
Sky should be turning, right? I mean, he has all his items.
I
He should
mean,
be
he
flying
can
towards
just
fish.
vibe there. There's no range exploiting anyway. He can just chill there and let Fishy walk into him. It makes no real difference. You don't have to fly into each other. Again, with the early dome.
I was talking about the rule which states that if you have all your items up, you need to go towards your opponent.
Well,
You can't
yeah,
just sit
it's
there and
more
wait
that
for a
you're...
draw.
Yeah,
Early
but
RD
Sky
from
wasn't
Sky.
actively... He wasn't, like, actively... He saw Vishy there, coming to him, and then... Yeah, it's understandable. He wasn't actively running away, he was just collecting energy. Until Vishy came to him.
If I was Vish
we'll
there,
let
I
that
might have
slide.
saved my RD for a bit longer. He managed to get away from Sky.
Yeah, but he RD'd before he got away. He RD'd, like, out of reflex of seeing an OS take away 80% of his health. Which is very understandable. Sky is back to his E field.
Well, Vish is saying in our clan chat that he misclicked his afterburner.
Oh, yeah. It's like
Happens.
one or the other.
He
I will
blaster
let
hit
them
for
know that
Sky.
they're
Sky
3
using his
minutes left.
division drone here versus Vish. Does
Fishy
Vish not have it? Oh, he does have it.
Yeah, he does. Fishy also has a slightly... Ooh, there it is!
Ooh,
Yep.
that was an insane hit.
Yeah, but that's
Absolutely
it.
insane.
That's how Sky plays, and that's how I think a Chrome should play in this matchup. Like, eventually, your OS is going to crit. You just need to stay alive long enough to see it happen.
I mean, that is one strategy, yeah. The other being just try to find the CD window where the Mar does not have shield,
Yeah,
which is a lot more difficult to do, I think.
Out-CDing a ship that has 2 stuns while you have none is challenging, to say the least.
Yeah.
Like, sure you have a protector, but it's not everything, you know? I don't know.
Well,
Interesting tactic by Fishy, but yeah, like, at some point it happens, and in the contest it's a gamble if it's gonna happen within 10 minutes or not, but I think Sky's playstyle, honestly, is really difficult to beat in the Marlstone. It'll take you a very long time to break it, to find a window. But Vishy got quite close at the start to pot him once. So.
Yeah, but still, well played by Sky.
Well played by both of them. Like, you can't blame Vishy for dying to an OS crit that's that high. Like.
Yeah, it was insane. I wasn't looking at his health, but I'm sure it was at least
I
70.
believe I had him
Same here.
selected. I might do an ML, like, if the percentage is low enough, I might do an MLG slow motion moment, but I'll check in the recording first how low it was. It looks like we have Sirius selected once again.
This is the 3rd time we've seen it, right? So this is the last time they could play Siri.
I believe so, yes. And we're gonna see a Hunter v Hunter. Interesting.
Ooh.
I've seen Vishy play Hunter v Hunter, and I've seen him do quite well in this matchup. I'm not sure how experienced Sky is with this matchup, because Sky really likes his Chrome more than his Hunter, from what I've seen. If he can get away with it.
He has some experience, just not recently, I believe.
Well,
yeah, he is not an inexperienced player by any means. I just feel like Vishy has a lot more up-to-date Hunter v Hunter experience than Sky does, from what I've seen.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it's gonna boil down to RNG largely, unless
there's a bit of
them...
item order involved. Like, you have to put your buffs in time or reset in time, pretty much. That's about
we're
it.
about to see.
We're off, and we'll see. Yeah, Vishy with his classic buff first, so he gets the buff on 1 extra SB, which is on paper a bit more damage. Vishy with the first stun, yeah, pretty much the same. But we see Vishy slightly ahead, 10% ahead. And also
Very
manages
good
to RD
AB
later.
there.
No, it's not. The issue with mirror matchups is that now Sky can just AB out. Like, while it's
Yep.
good what
That's
Vishy did,
true.
Sky can just walk out now. So you don't
Yeah.
generate an advantage with this. That's the problem. We'll see if both of them heal up to 100. Vishy does, yeah, so does Sky. So we're probably gonna see a full reset now. They could start fighting, in principle, because both of them don't have RD. Sky will get his RD first, though. So Vishy needs to actually be a bit careful with
Well,
that.
coming back to the drone situation, technically Vish does have the slight advantage here.
Yeah, on paper he does, but keep in mind that Sky does play... He does have the damage amp drone, which is the damage part of the Spaceball. And he'll usually play either the crit drone to get even more damage, or the armor drone. So it's not like he's without a Spaceball. You could just say he's with a slightly weaker Spaceball.
And it looks like they're going for a reset here.
Yeah. I think they're just gonna wait for all of their items to come back.
Let me just restart my timer, and we'll be on our way. But yeah, I do like what Vishy did though. Like, he got the advantage there. I think if he didn't use his AB, he would be
I
favored.
agree.
It comes down to RNG. 10% isn't enough to say he was definitely going to win. That's less than one missed blaster. But he did have the advantage, so I dislike that he AB'd there. While it's, like, it's the correct move, I should say, on paper, but it just doesn't work because you don't have the control to enforce the advantage that you create. Sky with a slightly earlier actuator. It might have been a moment of lag from Vishy. He didn't do anything for a second there. But
Early stun by Sky.
yeah, pretty even in HP. Sky will be stunned for one more blaster, so this HP difference. Sky with a really early RD, and Vishy once again with the AB out. I don't like this. Sky's ABing in this time.
If Vishy keeps doing this, it's just gonna keep resetting over and over.
Yeah. I mean, if Sky messes up and chases into it at some point, then that would be GG. But I think Vishy just needs to keep this RD, his AB, like... I mean, maybe he's just waiting for a fight where he's, like, really hard favored on the RNG. So he wants to keep resetting until he finds a fight that's just way better for him, where he's guaranteed to win.
And that's the thing I don't like about mirror matchups, especially when the ships are one-dimensional. Like, if, for example, all they do is damage and they have no defenses and no control, because it's just gonna boil down to RNG. And if you don't like your RNG, you're just gonna look for a reset.
You can't really say that the Hunter has no control. It's one of the strongest support control ships in the game.
Yeah. I'm not talking about this matchup specifically. Although I dislike it as well.
I hate this matchup, it's boring as hell. And we've seen way too much of it because everyone picks Hunter constantly.
Yeah. I think Vishy is probably the one to have picked the Hunter the most times.
I'm not sure. I don't have stats on like who picked what ships. All I did was a while ago I looked at I didn't even look at all the games, I just looked at all the games that were on my channel at that time, which was 16 videos. And I looked at which ship got picked, which one won. And you'll see Hunter got picked more than twice as much as the number 2. Hunter's win rate is not that good.
Really early buffs by Sky. He just stuns here? Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, like, both have the buffs for the full fight pretty much. Vishy slightly behind on HP. Gonna go for an AB. I think Sky chases this.
Yeah, I think he just ABs in. His stun is gonna stay for longer.
He's 3% ahead. I think he wins, yeah. Vishy needs to RDs at the same time, but Sky is still ahead in HP.
Has more HP. Yep,
oh, and he just gets it through the RD. Yep. Nice.
Well done by Sky.
I'll have to say this round was very important because of the score now. It's 3-2, right?
Yeah, it's a 3-2 for
but
Sky
now there's a lot of pressure on top of Vish because if he loses this, then he's lost the entire match.
True, but he does have the system pick, so he can figure out what he wants to play. And I think there's... I'm not sure exactly on what ships Vishy has access to. That's the issue. They're not allowed to pick Syria anymore.
If I was Vishy right now, I would just go back to Drac and take his Hunter for the win versus
I assume
the
that's
Hunter
what
isn't a free win because, well, you saw what Sky did.
I should not say a free win, but it's definitely favored.
Well, you saw what Sky did against the Marlstone. Like, that same strategy is twice as effective as against Hunter as it is against Marl, because Hunter has no way to defend itself from OSs. One crit is all you need.
Yeah, I'll be very surprised if Vish doesn't actually take Draconis.
Well, he picked Mizar, so
Yeah.
you are
Oh, well,
hereby
that
officially very surprised.
I'm very surprised.
Good statement. Well, Mizar is interesting because there's all sorts of ships that people pick in Mizar. I really like Mizar. I think it's the most interesting system.
I assume he's gonna fly out in a Hunter again.
Could
And
be,
it's actually,
but in Mizar there's a lot of there's a lot more counterplay to it because I feel like in Mizar, for example, the Chrome does better against the Hunter than it would do in other systems, in my opinion, because the Hunter just lacks a whole lot of damage compared to normal systems.
well, I have to say I'm quite surprised that you say that because normally the reason you put the Chrome and the Hunter on equal footing is because of the potential OS crit, right? And in Miser, the Chrome has a
Yes,
rare OS
but
and does a lot less damage.
the reason I don't particularly like the Mizar Hunter, even though it's still pretty good against a lot of ships, the reason I don't like it is because Hunter really relies the core of that ship, the way most people play it anyway. There are different ways to set up a Hunter, but we don't have to get into that. The core of that ship is there's a period of time, like 40 seconds or whatever the duration is, depends on what item you pick, where you're doing an overwhelming amount of damage. If your buff is a little bit weaker, which it is in this system, it's not just not as strong, it's not even a balanced, it's a rare. We're gonna see a Hunter v Hunter, by the way. So, gameplay, people, gameplay.
It does last longer though.
It lasts longer, but your DPS isn't as overwhelming, so you're used to kill a prot in like 4 hits, now it's suddenly 6 or 7 hits. It makes a huge difference, because your actuator and your buff work multiplicatively. That's why the DPS is so crazy.
Oh, Vish actually got the long repair droid on,
Yeah,
which I like.
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to point out. Also, he's using a strong speed, and Sky's using the balanced one.
So Sky's
if
basically gonna try to...
He should win this, because the long RD is very powerful, as long as Vish plays this right and uses it early enough.
Well, he needs to stay at range. It's risky, because long RD, you wanna... It's kind of better for long fights, but Sky likes doing a long fight. Yeah, Vishy literally puts it 100%, pretty much. After 1 SP, he already puts his RD.
Yep, I agree with that play.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it, but it does look funny. We're not used to seeing it like that. But Sky's buffs last longer than Vishy's. So, his RD is gonna run out. It's gonna come down to RNG, I think. But...
I'm gonna have to disagree, though. Vish should have quite a big advantage here.
Yeah, I think Vishy just wins this. He has a strong speed, his stun ends later.
Well, he has an advantage because of the strong speed, pretty much. I think that's what decides it here. The RDs equal out in this one.
Yeah, I would say for this fight, yeah, the strong RD definitely won him. But if they were going for a cycle, like they were resetting, the long RD would have won him that.
The RDs were completely equal. Like, people have misconceptions about RD a lot, I feel. All RDs heal the same amount, they just do it over a different time. As long as you don't have RD active at 100% health at any point, any RD gives you the same value, as long as it runs its full course before you die. So, in this fight, both of them had that. Sky had his full RD duration running, he never overhealed, and the same went for Vish, even though he put it earlier.
With the long RD, especially when they're doing cooldown matchup, Vish used his RD quite a while before Sky did, because it's got a long RD, which means he would have got it back a lot faster.
It's not a...
True, but I don't think this particular matchup...
I don't think it matters that much.
Yeah, I don't think in an all-out brawl you're ever gonna get to a second RD.
Yeah, I think it was purely... In this fight it was purely the actuator, and... yeah.
Well, I'm a bit shocked by Sky picking the normal speed actuator there, but...
I don't know, like... I get what he's doing, because he's just matching up his actuator with his buff. Right? But it does weaken him a little bit in an all-out brawl. But yeah, like what I was saying, because your explosive period in Mizar isn't as strong as it normally is, you might as well play into it being longer. I understand what Sky's going for, he just... both kind of have a weird, confused build. Like, you'd expect the long RD to be with the balanced actuator, and then the balanced RD to be with the strong actuator. Right? Because then you have a build that wants to do a long fight, and one build that wants to get in there and win. But both of them kind of take like half of a full build. Which
I
is
think
interesting.
long RD is, personally, I think long RD is the best repair druid for 1v1s.
I'm inclined to disagree. It's very exploitable.
Yeah, it depends on the matchup. It really does. Like, went offline. Do you know if he crashed or is he relogging?
Either a crasher or a relog. We should see him back soon, I think.
Well, I only use long repair droid on ships with has a secondary ability, like a stun or a shield, for example.
Yeah, but the reason why I dislike it is because even with a second ability, if you don't have a second defensive ability, the risk is just you'll get killed through your RD.
No.
If you do have
that's
one,
what I'm saying, though.
If you do have one, I can just force out your secondary defense and then reset, and you have nothing then. Like, you're forced to commit all of your defense in one moment because one of your defensive items isn't good enough. That's what I don't like about it.
If you make me low enough with a long RD, where I have to use a secondary item like a shield or a stun, the RD is still going to probably get all of its value still.
Well, yeah, but let's say you're against a milestone, which people's like to play long RD against, even though I disagree with it. You have to RD super early. That just makes it really easy for the Marl to press a stun, walk away, and you got nothing. Like, you have to press it earlier, so the window for him to...
if the Marl stuns you and wants to reset, you just AB the other way.
Well, that depends on what ship you're on, but, like, if he stuns you and walks away, even if you AB the other way, the Marl can AB after you and still be in range if it wants to. It's not the end of the world.
I wouldn't agree with that.
It depends on the ships, but yeah. What system did we get?
We got Soul and
again?
Sky came. Yeah, and Sky came out in a Chromium.
Okay.
Vishy is still in Hangar, I believe. Let me check.
We'll see what Vishy wants. Vishy does have an Emperor for Soul, but I don't think he's gonna risk that against a Hunter. He knows that Sky is a Hunter.
Did Vishy come back online?
No. I mean, he is online. He's in Hangar right now.
Sky is the one that went offline. And he's already on the surface now, so...
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
I think Vishy is really taking his time, because he knows this is the last fight.
But interesting that Sky goes for the Chromium, like...
Does he not have a Hunter?
He does.
He does, he just used it, like, a few minutes
ago. But maybe
ago.
a bit of mind games, like, he's trying to, for example... If Vishy thinks that there's a Hunter, and Vishy goes for a relog as well now... If Vishy thinks Sky is going for Hunter, he might pick Punari. I think Punari has a really low win rate against Chrome, honestly, because you just don't really kill
I would agree.
You don't have the DPS.
I mean, when I tend to do that matchup, what ends up happening is I keep resetting over and over until my OS crits, and then it's over. It's a really annoying playstyle, but it does favor you.
It's similar to what you do against a Marlstone, but it's like the Punari can pressure you way less than a Marlstone does. It has less DPS, it has less stuns, so its cooldown ability isn't even as strong. Punari tends to not want long fights against an actuator, because the actuator just does more cooldown increase than cooldown decrease than the stuns do cooldown increase, in my experience, or they roughly cancel each other out. So Punari, despite being a shock ship, people like to call it that, I call it a tank ship, but it's not really a good control ship. Anything with an actuator will beat it in the long run, or will
Vish is still in the starbase, yeah?
Yeah, he relogged, so he just now came back.
Yeah,
do you know that Vishy in buddies?
I do.
Good boy.
Let's see what he picks. I'm assuming it's gonna be a Hunter again. Vishy really likes his Hunters.
We'll see. Like, if Vishy sees through what Sky is doing, then he could pick an Emperor, and he could like outright get the win, because he does have a Soul Emperor available, but it is risky against the Hunter. So
as far as I remember, okay, never mind, he's out in a Punari.
So we're actually gonna see a draw. Let's start the
I mean, it could go either way.
It can go either way. I would slightly favor the Chrome, because I just feel like the Punari doesn't kill the Chrome in time and gets pressured too much to stay on top of him.
Yeah, agreed.
But
Slight advantage to the
it
Chrome.
can go either way,
Right,
definitely. Does he have the important thing on the Punari? Okay, he doesn't have an Ifrit on it either, so...
The important thing, you say.
It makes a huge difference in this matchup, because it's all about how much pressure you can put, and Punari's main issue is a lack
Unfortunately,
of
Sally,
damage.
the amount of Ifrits you can get in the event is limited due to some players stealing all of them.
Yeah, if only some players would stop doing that.
Yeah.
I would not know what you're talking about. Anyway, let's get
OS,
to the
really
match.
bad hit. The Punari, it should be said, has
Really
a
early
little bit...
RD.
Yeah. The Punari does have a little bit more armor than the Marlstone, I do believe. It's not a huge difference,
Yeah.
but it's a little bit more. So the crits not going to be as high most likely. Skylork will need quite
I think
a
we're
good roll.
already in for a reset. Yep.
Yeah.
Should be.
But
Sky's
Sky
overheating.
actually, and I agree with what Sky is doing here. He wants to kind of keep pressure. Okay, he forced out on a prot and then went to range, so that's really nice for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was well played.
There's a good chance that Fishy should just walk into range now. I mean, the Punari isn't much faster, if at all faster than the Chrome.
Yeah,
but
but
Sky
Sky
is
is running
walking to
into
it, and
dead end.
Fishy acknowledges a reset, I guess. Which is
I'm not sure
interesting.
about
I
that.
feel like he could have AB'd in there, but Sky has no way to catch him now, so yeah, full reset.
I don't think he even needed to AB. I think he just could have kept flying in a straight line because he had Sky pinned down.
Yeah, on paper, but it's... I don't know,
Ooh,
like...
Sky with an actuator. Is he gonna get in range for the magnet? Yep,
Yeah.
he is.
Sky is just trying his best to pressure, gets a
Vichy
decent
no
hit, but not
prot.
good enough. Yeah, but
Vichy no prot. Keep
he
that
needs
in
to
mind.
scram. Oh, okay, he puts the RD first. Fair enough. But
Sky really trying to get the kill here.
I don't think he's trying to get the kill. I think what he's doing is he's playing aggressive to force Fishy to be on the defensive pretty much the whole match, because that's actually safer for him. If you let the Punari control the pace of the fight, then he'll eventually create a cooldown opening where he'll kill you. Like, it'll take a while, but he'll eventually win. So I like what Sky is doing.
Yeah, because Vichy is wasting his aim scrambler now. Yeah, he didn't get much value out of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
the thing is though, Vicious Stun did waste some of Sky's RD and was able to, well, if he wanted to, reset the fight.
Yeah, but Sky is gonna get his RD back in time.
Yeah, Punari
yeah,
just
of course.
really lacks the damage, I feel, to break the CC very early on in this. And Sky is just putting as much pressure as he can so that Vichy really can't ever get close to killing him. I really like what Sky is doing here, and Vichy full on defensive plays now.
I feel
Needs
like
to
the window for the opponent to kill the CC is just so minimal.
Yeah,
It's a very difficult matchup and annoying at that.
I think
really is.
I think you need to play a lot more aggressive at the start of the fight. Like, I actually think the start of the fight is very decides a lot here. Or after a full reset, then the re-engage would decide a lot. But whichever ship is on the offensive is winning in my mind. Like, if the Punari can control the fight, be on the offensive, get good stun timings off, he'll create an opening for himself eventually. If the CC has to keep running, eventually the Punari will win if he can stay on top of him. But if the CC is pushing the Punari, Vichy really going all out for a reset here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
not liking
Sky
the
is
defensive
not gonna
posture.
chase.
Team
Yeah,
Sky
he has no
also-
chance to get in range, so Sky's actually gonna AB the other way, make sure that the Punari doesn't get to him before he has all of his items as well. Understandable choice.
Yep, interesting that he used AB. I mean, he already saw Vichy use his. Like, there's no way he was gonna get close to him without Sky noticing.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think it matters that he
it
uses
doesn't
AB.
make a huge difference. I'm not sure what cooldown Sky is waiting for though. It feels to me like he should have all of his
Magnet?
items.
I think Magnet?
No, Magnet was used pretty early. He should have it more or less back. Magnet
Yeah, well,
cooldown with an actuator is like, what is it, 1.5 minutes at most? 2 minutes
the
maybe?
thing
think
with
he-
the thing with the Poe, it's like it's a very skill-based ship. There's no RNG involved with it. Like, you don't have a massive item like the orbital, which can create.
I like how
Yeah.
you say that in spite of having the Scrambler, which is the most RNG item in the game at this point.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but
we had a decent OS hit, once again not good enough. I feel like Sky should maybe start holding his OSs a little bit. I understand the pressure he's trying to do, but he's never gonna get a 100-0 against a Punari. Like, the odds of that are
Prot in speed.
Really low.
Are we gonna see it? Prot. There it is. Speed.
Yep. Just
But-
actuating up his defense. Offensive trap, actually. Forcing out the AB. Maybe. He did overheal a little bit. Vishy still has
His
Prot
protector
and
and
Scram.
scrambler, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
So not entirely sure about this, but Sky's OS is almost back. He might be banking that he gets his OS back before Vishy. Yeah, OS? Not enough. No, pretty low hit actually. Almost
Well,
gets
She's
it,
gonna
10%, but the stun is just barely good enough. Good play by Sky. We underestimated the value of that play quite a bit.
Going back
yeah.
to the scrambler comment, when they're having so many fights and resets, it should balance out.
RD?
Oh, RD a little bit too late, and Sky
Ooh.
takes it. Yeah.
He just got it. Like,
Yeah,
at
most
this
likely, and
moment.
then, yeah, if Sky misses one more, then doesn't work. So Sky successfully defending his spot. He was the defender in this match.
Yeah, and he played really well, I must
Yeah,
say.
excellent plays. Not that Vishy played bad by any means, though. Like, Vishy gave up a good fight, 4-3 obviously, score reflecting that. But yeah, in the end, they're just Sky's overwhelming aggression against a ship that doesn't really have the damage to feed it back.
Yeah,
I think
he
is
was
what won
always
the
the
game
one.
there.
He was always the one putting the pressure on in
Yeah.
that fight.
And that's really nice about Sky, that you see a massive change between how he played against the Marlstone, which was fully defensive until he gets the OS crit, and then against the Punari, fully offensive, make sure the Punari keeps running away from you. So, very cool to see that he's able to make that switch. A lot of people make the mistake that Punari and Marlstone are very similar ships. They're almost polar opposites in my opinion, honestly. They work
I
in a
think
really
it's-
different way.
I think it's very match dependent.
A little bit, but yeah. Anyway, that's it for this
I
match
like that,
coverage. Yeah, you want to say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I like that Sky picked his Chrome instead of the the Meta Hunter.
Yeah, yeah.
It's nice to see a
Well,
bit of a
yeah.
bit of change.
Chrome,
We've seen enough hunters.
Yep.
saying that Chrome isn't part of the meta is a questionable statement, but it's not as meta as the Hunter is at least. So.
Oh no, exactly.
But that's it
I wasn't
for this
trying to
match
say that.
coverage. So thank you both for commentating with me, and I hope the viewers enjoyed. We'll see you on the next one.